long ago wrote about prayer. But the one that stuck out to me was the reality that J.C. Ryle, many of you have read the works of J.C. Ryle, that great preacher and bishop of England many, many years ago. He wrote these words, and I'll just quote it for you. It goes like this: "If I know anything of a Christian's heart, I know this: you are often sick of your own prayers." J.C. Ryle said you're sick of your own prayers. Would that be true? Actually, when you talk to people, I know that often when I talk to people, you talk to people, and sometimes in various settings you say, "What are your strengths?" And they'll tell you a whole bunch of things. You say, "Well, what are your weaknesses?" And almost always there'll be two that every Christian has. Maybe 99% of the Christians in the world will tell you they have two weaknesses. Number one, they're not good at evangelism. And number two, they're not good at prayer. Just about everybody I ever talked to will tell you that, because somehow we are sick of our own prayer. Somehow we don't think that we're doing well at prayer. This particular article pointed out some things that we might be sick about in our own prayer. You might be sick about the dullness of your prayer life. You go to pray and you don't know what to pray for. I hope that's not your problem. If you have a problem like that, we can give you a long list. And we're thankful that Paula has come up with an email list so we can just keep praying for people. Sometimes we're sick of the distractions in prayer. I don't know about you. Sometimes I'm praying this great prayer about a great God, and all of a sudden I find myself thinking about changing the oil in my car. And I don't know how that happened. I'm talking about the majesty and glory of God, and all of a sudden I realized tomorrow I got to change my oil. And I was distracted. And I can see by the smiles on your face, I'm not the only one who gets distracted in their prayer. Sometimes I'm sick of the dozing in my prayer. You ever fall asleep when you pray? That's not bad, by the way. It's a great way to go to sleep. Pray yourself to sleep. Some of my professors in seminary said that's the way they wake up, and that was the way they went to sleep. You just pray yourself until you fall asleep. So it's not bad to fall asleep while you're praying, but sometimes we're tired of that. We want to really pray, and then we fall asleep in prayer. Sometimes we're sick of the dirt in our lives when we pray. I don't know about you. Sometimes you confess your sin, and sometimes you say, "Am I really serious about that, God? It seems like yesterday I confessed the same sin, or the last 5 days I confessed this exact same sin, and somehow I don't have a sense that I really am serious about the confession of my sin and really want God to give me victory if I keep doing it and keep doing it." And so sometimes I struggle with that, and sometimes I'm sick of the doubt in my prayer. I don't really know if it works. I really don't know if it matters. I don't really know if I should do this or not. Actually, I know the answers to all of that, but sometimes in my mind, those are things that go on when it comes to prayer. And I think that's why J.C. Ryle said, "I know one thing about Christians. Most of us are sick of our own prayers." C.S. Lewis, who was pretty transparent in many of his works, and sometimes he wrote in a way that we had to study and come to grips with, he said this: "I trust that it's the real me who is praying, and it's the real thou that I'm praying to." You ever find yourself that way? Is it the real me who's praying? Now, especially in public prayers, I know what I'm supposed to say and how I'm supposed to say it and the order and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes I wonder if it's the real me praying. And sometimes I wonder if it's the real thou that I'm praying to. Am I praying because I know you're listening, and I'm saying things that I know you expect to hear, and I'm careful in how I pray so that I'm praying to you? You know what's really refreshing is once in a while you catch it, that we really slip out of praying to each other and somebody just prays to God. It's almost like they lose track of the reality that there are other people in the room, and the real person prays to the real God, and that is so refreshing. That's why often new Christians are refreshing when they pray. They often do that. Most of us have our little, I can almost tell you the first 10 words that almost all of us will pray when we pray. We have something down. And to pray is a very, very special thing. So maybe J.C. Ryle's statement prompted my heart this week. Am I sick of my own prayer?